What's going on, guys? It's been such a while since I've been live or Bridget and I have been live. And I want to say I miss you guys. I miss the conversations. I miss the interaction. I miss getting to know you guys and getting to know, what's been going on in your lives. So for me, having these lives is such a integral part of the channel, and being able to converse with you guys and find out everything that is happening with you guys. It really it's something I've been missing over the last, I don't know how many months, but since, I want to say, spring, because I think we stopped doing the lives in the spring, or even before that. I think it might have been winter when I got busy with work and stuff. But for me, I want to thank you guys for being a part of our channel and watching our videos, watching our shorts, commenting, liking. It is just so humbling for me to have so many people watch the stuff that I do, and it just amazes me that you guys want to be part of this and see what we do. It's crazy awesome. And I know going into this winter, what I want to do is have a lot more of you up on the channel and be able to talk to you a lot more and converse and really find out what's been going on with you guys. And I know there's a lot of people out there who want more information. So I want to bring in others who have that type of knowledge. Speaking of which, John, thanks for joining us. You're one of the guys that I really want to have up on this channel and really want to talk to, because the gardening that you do with your place, for me, is just phenomenal. So we have a hard time growing stuff here because of our zone, because of the climate. This year's been bad because of the rain and lack of sun. However, John in the comment has been killing it with food and growing vegetables. And if you haven't looked at his channel, definitely check it out, because he has been killing it with being able to grow food for not only his family, but going to farmers market and providing that food for others as well. So what has been going on here? We've been kind of crazy busy with everything that's going on here on the farm. The greenhouse is rocking. We expected 2 of our Highland cows to be pregnant. However, only 1 turned out to be pregnant. So we do have the little girl running around on the farm now, and she's doing amazing. Cute little girl. We want to take a lot of extra time with her and be able to get her halter broke and friendly. So going forward in the next few years, we want to make sure she's able to be led around on a halter, be able to be tied up somewhere. So then that way, if we need to, we can milk her, we can treat her, we can do things with her. Whereas our other Highland cows, we haven't been able to do that with them because we haven't been able to put a halter on them. We're still trying to get our chute and crush worked out. We haven't put anybody through the new crush that we have. So there's a lot going on with the cows that we want to try and finalize, kind of perfect, kind of make sure we're doing things right. The big thing for us is having the Highland cows. It's hard with the horns. So a lot of people out there are running cows, Dexters, mini Dexters, other breeds that don't have horns. So they're able to send them through the crush, send them through stuff where they're able to hold them in like a little pen or whatever. and be able to medicate them, be able to look after their feet, be able to look after any needs that they might have. With us, with the horns, it makes it extra difficult. So even trying to put them through the chute or put them through the crush, it's hard with those horns. So it's something we're still trying to perfect. So we we want to be able to get that down to a fine art and be able to give you guys that information. So anyone else out there who wants to start running Highland cows will have that information and be able to make it that much better for you guys to be able to handle them and look after them. So John, thanks for joining us. Elizabeth, thanks for coming in. Tammy, Rebel Canners, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate you guys being here. It has been a long time. T-Hand 141, Tracy, thanks again for everything. You had me on your live tonight. Thanks again for being here and supporting me nonstop. So I wanted to kind of give you guys where we've been, what we've been up to, and that sort of thing. Farmer Red, thanks for coming in. I'm glad you could join us. So this summer has been a little busy, but not as busy as we have in the past. This year, we kind of put a lot of projects on hold because we wanted to kind of take it easy and kind of perfect other things we had in the works. For example, the greenhouse, the cattle chute, like I said, the chickens, the rabbits, that sort of thing. We wanted to try and get those perfected. We wanted to get those systems in place because I'm getting older and I want to make sure that, once I get older, I'm not having to work as hard as I used to work to be able to look after the chores. So one of those things is like taking water out, taking feed out, that sort of thing. You don't want to be going out every day and carrying water buckets or carrying feed buckets. You want to be able to have systems in place to be able to, these animals are good for a few days, or I can just flick the switch and wait for half an hour and the water trough will be filled up, or, that kind of thing. So that's kind of been our mission this year, and it didn't really happen. There's been so many other things that have been going on. We've been working on the basement, trying to get Bridget's, I want to say, weaving studio, the dungeon. Rawr. We're trying to get the dungeon fixed up for her to be able to teach her weaving courses. She's amazing at weaving, and there's a huge demand for people who want to learn how to weave and how to do that kind of thing. So she's amazing at teaching that, and we really want to get the basement set up for that. So we tore out a couple rooms that were down there that were, I want to say they were like 8 feet by 10 feet. So we took out 2 of those rooms. We're refinishing the basement, and that's going to be her new office and studio. So we're trying to get that set up by fall, and then hopefully by then she'll be able to have people in and have a couple extra weaving looms where they can come in and learn how to do some weaving, how to do some embroidery, how to do some tufting and I already said weaving, embroidery, that kind of thing. So that'll be really cool to be able to have, her own studio where she can do the things that she needs to do. MT Homestead, good to see Sarah Hold the Line Homestead. Great to see you as well. Glad you can join us. Let me just see if I can. I don't have my mouse, but I can use the little thingy. What would be our second choice for cows? I don't know if we'd even have a second choice for cows. Highlands were kind of our be all end all kind of cows. Um, we knew that they would be an amazing fit for our environment, given my own heritage being Scottish and that. Uh, I wanted Highland cows. Um, so it kind of fit in what we wanted to do, being a dual breed where we could milk them and use them for beef. Our main purpose was the beef. So I would really have to go into a lot of research to find out what else would be ideal for our homestead for beef. Um, we've wanted to do milk with them, but we aren't set up quite yet. We want to set up some. I want to say, so with the new one that was just born, we want to get her halter broke and be able to lead her around and tie her up and that sort of thing. So we want to get some facilities set up where we can take them into a little area, give them some feed or grain or hay or whatnot, and be able to milk them. We haven't done that yet with the girls we have. So Bui and Freya are not into that. And then we have Joe Beefy, the bull, who comes over and kind of annoys everybody when that's kind of going on. So if we could set up something for a milking area, it would be ideal. But I would really have to look into different other breeds. Um, something else we would look at definitely if we weren't doing Highlands would be again something with no horns. The horns really do make it that much more difficult for us to be able to medicate them, to look after them, to do anything with them, running them through the chute, running through the cattle crush. With the horns, it does add that extra bit of difficulty. So going back to another breed, we would have to look at that. However, Highlands are still our ideal choice based on the amount they eat, the lack of infrastructure that we have to build for them. We don't have to build a barn. We don't have to do anything. We have a shelter, but they're rarely in it. So we don't have to feed them that much. We don't have to shelter them that much. They're basically, they look after themselves. So that's a huge plus for us. So looking at something else that would be able to do that without the horns, we'd really have to research that. Gil, Campatton Farms, thanks for joining. Glad you could join us. Let's just go there. So yeah, so we had the little one. We were expecting two little ones. We only got one little one because we had hers, which I think we're going to name Lagather. Bridget's really set on that. And to register this year as an L word or an L name for the Highlands. So she came up with that. That's pretty awesome. Freya we thought were pregnant, but she didn't give birth. So about a month or so ago, 2 months ago, I can't remember, but she got taken again by Joe Beefy. So we'll see if she's pregnant again this time. We're not sure. We're at the point where we're thinking we're going to harvest her, but again, it's going to be hard because, we took her from when I think she was like a year old or something like that. We took her. So we've been raising her since she's been a year old, and I think she's 3 or 4 now. So we're a little attached to her. She's awesome. It would be hard to harvest her for meat. So, and then Odin, the Basset Hound, he's like 3 years old now. 3.5 years. It's crazy. He's really maturing well. The greenhouse is doing amazing. We're getting some bell peppers as well as cayenne peppers from the greenhouse. It's kind of rocking. It's kind of like our test studio, I want to say, where we can put stuff in there and start it. We can put stuff in there and test it out. So we can grow we've been growing cayenne peppers, bell peppers. We've got, tomatoes growing, herbs. We've got some rosemary that's rocking in there, basil, sage, thyme, all that kind of stuff. And then Bridget as well uses it for her starting area. So she'll start lavender. She started marigolds. She started lupins. I forget. She's just, the whole kind of front section is like her playground where she just starts a whole bunch of stuff and then it gets transplanted out to the other area after it gets started, which is just amazing. So it's really cool that way. The food forests are kind of rocking. The one issue we've had, I'm gonna kind of throw myself under the bus here. So we've got the one section over there. I don't know if you guys have seen the one video where we just harvested the choke cherries, but that's kind of Bridget's food forest. And then I've got my food forest over here, and my food forest is kind of like, you've seen online where people talk about food forests and they just let everything go and permaculture and chop and drop and whatever grows and that sort of thing. Well, it's kind of a disaster. So if you go into my food forest area, it's kind of a disaster. You're looking at where you might step on stuff and you're not sure what's growing where, and you're not sure if that's a plant or not. It's just kind of yikes. And then you go to her food forest area and you have trees that are, which trees are which trees, and bushes that are, those are those bushes, and flowers that are bushes. And it's kind of all organized, and every so often it gets mowed. My area doesn't get mowed as much. So it's kind of like, where you can walk there, you can't walk in my area without thinking you're stepping on something. So it's kind of crazy. So it's really interesting that way to see the difference between the two. Squawberries. I'd be really interested to know what squawberries are. It's so funny because you look at different definitions of stuff or different names of stuff. So little hint here, or a little preview. We've been growing some Viking aronia berries. Viking aronia berries, and they are huge in antioxidant and that sort of stuff. So we've got, I want to say 7 or 8, 9 bushes of those, and they're doing amazing. And we've got so many other stuff like blueberries and goji berries and that sort of thing. So it's really interesting to see the different names too, because the Viking aronia berries are also called black chokeberries. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see all that kind of stuff that you're able to grow and harvest and store. Oh, that's neat. It's funny you mentioned that because I was watching a thing on the California wildfires. And for me, I was kind of like of two opinions. So when they talked about the California wildfires, they were talking about, one of the big things was the goats eating stuff down was coming to an end because the goats were put into another category with other stuff. So they'd be registered or classified as something else. So suddenly they'd have to pay a whole bunch more tax and other stuff. So the people who were renting out goats to manage the forested areas to be able to eat the stuff that was on the ground was coming to an end because they just changed the legislation for it. But in my mind, I was like, okay, so it was weird. I don't know if you guys would follow this. You probably will, but then you'd be like, whoa, he's off on a tangent here. So in California, they have the goats eat down all the scrub, all the dried stuff, all like everything that a goat can reach, they eat from there down on the ground in the forest to help prevent forest fires. So forest fires still happen, of course, in California, but they say they're not as hot. So they don't burn as hot as the other forest fires. And in my mind is, what if the goats didn't do that? So what if you took kind of the permaculture thought and continued to add mulch to the ground to continue to increase the moisture on the ground, to continue to green up the ground, to continue to save that moisture that comes down and create basically like make the entire forest moist. I know some of you will be like, oh, he said moist. Yeah, like make the entire forest moist. Would that be better if the entire forest was moist or if you had goats eating everything that can burn? I don't know. It's one of those, you'd have to kind of do like some sort of research into that to see whether a forest where everything is eaten from the ground to the top where goats can reach, or leave all that and just make everything moist. I don't know. I'm in favor of everything being moist. They are a fall berry that at first glance resembles a strawberry, but fruits until the fall, used by natives of food. Nice. Interesting. Because again, it comes down to what people see things as, what people name things as. One of my things was we had Chris and Steph here the other weekend from Hickory Croft Farms. And if you haven't checked out Hickory Croft Farms, they are a huge wealth of knowledge. We had them here for a weekend and we still didn't get enough time with them. We want to like sit them down for like an entire week and just suck their brains dry of all the information they have. But so we went out and we were looking at stuff and I'm like, yeah, so we're harvesting wild blackberries. And Chris said, no, that's a dewberry. I'm like, oh, a dewberry. I'm like, so, getting the right name for things or getting a different name for things is one of those, like Bridget has now been harvesting what we call fireweed for jellies, jams. Well, there's so many different terms for fireweed until you go to, I guess it's the Latin name for it, but fireweed, I forget the other names already, but I remember reading in UK, they call it bombweed because in World War II, after the bombs would fall, that would be the first plant that comes up after the Germans come through and bomb stuff, that would be the first one that comes up. So it's a green plant with this kind of needle and purple flowers on it. And you can harvest the flowers and make jam and other stuff with it. So it's neat to see the different names and stuff for things. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many ways to look at different stuff. Yeah. Um, and that's just it. It's like you can look at different options, different, but in some of these cases, you really have to take the science, which a lot of people now don't believe in science because of everything that's been going on. But there really is ways to be able to say, you take, this 30 acres and this 30 acres and do different farming practices or different forestry practices, even 100 acres, like take 100 acres, do a different forestry practice on this one compared to this one. And, you'll be able to get the feel for which one is better, which one's more environmentally friendly, which one prevents forest fires, which one is produces more lumber, uh, that sort of thing. So those kind of things, I think, in my mind, are very easy to quantify the differences between them if you're willing to actually take the time and say, here's 200 acres, let's do it this way. Here's another 200 acres, let's do it this way. Here's another 200 acres, you do it your way. And in the end, we'll measure the differences between each of them. Yeah, so we thought they were blackberries. Chris called them dewberries. And for us looking at it, it's like, okay, they look the same, but the dewberries are much smaller than the blackberries. Um, so far, I can't really tell the difference in taste. I'd have to take a whole bunch, I guess, and do a real comparison on them. And so, what else? The amount of rain we've been having is insane. I think I want to say it's been like 3 months, and we've had maybe 3 days of sunshine. That has not worked out well for any of our plants whatsoever. Um, the beans have been kind of a horrible harvest. We've we've gotten a few, and we've gotten some in the freezer, but the kohlrabi, the turnips, the beets, the cauliflower, the cucumber, lettuce, all of that kind of stuff. Growing it outside it's been horrible. We haven't grown anything. We put seeds in spring. So say the second week of June for us after frost for salad, and they're about this tall. It's been horrible. Richmond's Place Homestead. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're here. Yeah, and that's just it. It's like trying to figure out what everything actually is one of the cool things as well. We also have wild raisins. So those are really neat. This year, again, they didn't do well either. So we'll have to check in to see what we can do to help promote them. We know we have two bigger bushes, bigger trees on the farm. Um, and allowing them to do better would be very cool. Drops from the garden. Glad you could join us. Thanks for coming here. Yeah, that's just it. That's what Chris was mentioning, is that dewberries continue to expand low along the ground, whereas blackberries tend to climb a little higher. So it's really neat to see the difference in them. We have some, I want to say, cultivated domestic blackberries, the ones without the thorns. So we have those planted. Last year they got hit really hard with the snow, and we lost a bunch of the limbs and stuff. So they almost started from fresh this year. So this year they started expanding a bit more. So hopefully next year we'll have a good crop of them. So it's been the rain as well that's been hitting us hard, lack of sunlight. I put out the video. I screwed up the Three Sisters planting. That was just brutal. I should have done that totally different. That needed definitely more space. Definitely a different approach to how you plant the Three Sisters. Instead of a regular kind of, you want to plant all your corn in one big patch so they all touch each other and stuff. And when you're doing Three Sisters, it's kind of like a patch here, a patch there, a patch there. So they're all kind of different from each other. So you have anywhere from, say, 3 to 7 stalks of corn and 1 or 2 beans going up them, and then 1 or 2 squash on the side, and that's it. And then you're like 3-4 feet till your next one, because otherwise it's just a disaster and just a mess of plants and stuff growing all over the place, and it just doesn't work. Food forest permaculture, great to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for glad you can make it. So what else has been going on? There's been so much. It was one of those, like I said, we didn't want to do too many projects. We wanted to kind of perfect the systems we had in place, but then we got caught up doing other stuff like in the basement and that sort of thing. So it's been kind of a weird year for that kind of thing. So too many volunteers is good as well. It's one of those things where you like, trying to think of what I want to say there, but it's been like, it's good and bad. So, as long as the volunteers are the ones you want, it's good. And it's one, wow, I might need another drink, but it's like, if you're having volunteers, that's a good thing. So you want to kind of take those volunteers and put them into growing more stuff as well, because anything you can grow that is like a weed that loves growing on your place, like a volunteer, is a great thing. So the more stuff that you can nurture that loves growing at your place, the better you are. So we've got stuff like ground cherries. They just love growing here. Choke cherries love growing here. So we get those volunteers all the time that are just like popping up everywhere all over the homestead, um, especially the ground cherries, because we throw so much stuff in the compost and then we spread that compost out everywhere. And the ground cherries don't seem to um, compost the same way other stuff does. So you might not get anything growing else out of your compost, then all of a sudden, like ground cherries everywhere for us. So it's one of those things that is really cool to see, and we're we're at the point now where we're going to encourage it to try and like, yeah. So if we can grow more and more and more of these, like maybe we can hook up a restaurant or hook up a farm stand or something like that where we can, benefit from the amount of stuff that's just growing up here and there. Oh, wow. I'm like all over the place now. It's been a while since I've done a live, so you'll just have to bear with me. So it's Thursday night live. It's not fall yet. It's not fall, but it kind of feels like it. I'm even wearing my hoodie here. Look at this. I mean, man, it's crazy here because it's like we've been getting down to 10 degrees, 8 degrees. It's been kind of brutal here for the kind of weather we've been having. So it's not it's not conducive to growing stuff at all, which is nice because we're able to have the greenhouse and grow everything that we do in the greenhouse. So um didn't plant any pumpkin squash or tomatillos this year. They just came. We planted squash and pumpkins in our three sisters, and we still don't have any that are showing. We have a few that look like they're just starting. Um, and again, Chris from Hickory Croft was here, and he looked at ours and he's like, "You've got all female plants." I guess it was. I think he said all female. It was either all female or all male. So it's just all flowers rather than all fruit. So I went out today and looked at it, and it looks like we do actually now have some either pumpkins or squash that are now starting. So that's a good thing, but it's a little too late for that now. So we'll see what happens if they're able to actually grow into anything. What else is happening? Um, Really, that's about it. With the little one, the greenhouse going crazy, trying to get the outside to grow with the lack of sunshine and the amount of rain, and redoing the basement. And I'm about to go into the busy season at work. So I wanted to. I was talking to Tracy tonight on his live, and I wanted to try and get back and reconnect with everybody and talk to everybody on their, you know, I want to say on their live, but it's not really on their live. It's on our live, but you're connecting with us. So it's kind of cool that way. So I like to hear what you guys have to say, what's happening in your lives. And, I know a lot of you guys are going through the same stuff as us, trying to grow more food. The prices on stuff are crazy going into the grocery stores or trying to pay for gas. I go to work once a week and fill my truck up, and it's crazy paying for gas for my truck to pay for that. That's like just insane. I don't know how anyone can drive to work 5 times a week now. unless unless you sprung for one of those electric cars, it's like you probably got a rebate from the government and stuff like that. And like, man, ouch! It just hurts. It hurts. John, we haven't had to buy food in a long time between all the veg and meat we raise. It hurts seeing the prices when we do go in. It does. We're like you, we're kind of lucky. We're able to provide all our own meat for the year. We have tried to provide our own veg and fruit for the year. I want to say we get anywhere from a third to half the year of our own veg, sometimes fruit, depending on what's happening. But it's crazy to go into the groceries and pay for stuff. Bridget sent me a picture, I want to say it was like 2 months ago, of, I think it was from Costco, where she went with her sister, and it was for some tenderloin. And I want to say the tenderloin was $127 for one tenderloin. I'm like, whoa, that's just insane. Like, how do people pay for that? And I'm like, oh, we pay for the hay and we pay for the feed and the care and the fencing and that kind of stuff. So it probably works out to that over time. But man, just how do you do that? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. It hurts. It hurts to see those prices. Yes, it is. It's insane. Hey, hope you guys are doing awesome tonight. Yes, it is. It's been too long. It was one of those things where Tracy, another friend, Than141, was live tonight. I'm like, it's been too long since I've done a live, and I really need to take some time and reconnect with everybody and see what's going on in everyone else's lives. And I hope you guys are doing amazing. So we're just talking about the weather and gas prices and food prices, and not sure how anyone survives out there without growing some of their own food. It just going in to see the prices just hurts. So I wish we would have had a better summer. I know we would have been able to stock a lot more away. However, that's what happens sometimes when you're farming. Your homesteading is like 1 year's up, 1 year's down. So, last year we were able to stock a lot away, a lot of beans, a lot of carrots, a lot of onions, and that kind of stuff, where we were able to stock it away last year, which thankfully makes up for this year. So that's just it. It's like, I couldn't imagine. I was just saying, like, I don't know if you heard when talking about when Bridget went in with her sister to Costco, and it was like $100 and something for one tenderloin from a cow. And I'm like, seriously, how does anyone afford to go into a barbecue or do a barbecue or pay for their own meat or something like that when, one tenderloin is $100? That's just crazy to me. And she showed me some other prices too for meat when she goes in, like to get she'll go in to get cheese and that kind of stuff. And again, the prices are just astronomical. It just hurts. Ouch. Hopefully, with that kind of shopping trip, you're able to like put stuff away because I know like Costco, you can buy some bulk stuff. So like I've been needing to go down to Costco and get some like bulk sugar for some stuff. So yeah, so hopefully like that kind of includes like some bulk stuff where you're able to put away and allows for some canning and storage and preservation. Like doing a $500 trip per month on a regular basis for regular eating is not cool. It just doesn't work. So yeah, nice. Yeah, probably like $250 in toilet paper, something like that. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. It's we're not back in 2021, so but yeah, if I could get like bulk sugar delivered here, I'd be rocking. So, oh, that would be cool if we could get picture free. Even if we had to lie and say, "Yep, we're gonna rescue the pigs. We're gonna put them up. They're gonna have an awesome life for the next how many years," and then 6 months later you harvest them. It's all good. They had a great life while they were here, right? They do have book supply drop offs. Like, I'm not sure. We've we've tried to order stuff from multiple places, if that's what you mean. Like having them drop stuff off, like delivery. We don't get delivery where we are. We're too far out from everywhere. And they're like, no, we don't deliver to you. So we would love to have tons of bulk stuff delivered here, like sugar, flour, corn, that kind of stuff. Um, Grain. Like if we could get that in bulk delivered on skids, we'd be all set. But they're like, nope, you're too far out. That's going to cost you a million billion. Plowman's Backyard, good to see you. Glad you guys are doing amazing. Thanks for dropping by and making a comment. We're kind of just starting up the lives again, kind of just saying hi to everyone and what's going on. And even the basset hound is here. Come here. Come here. Oh, look at, can you guys see the basset hound? Oh, you can. He's like right here. He's like, hello. Hello, hound dog. How are you? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and Patrick just joined us. Patrick, yes, sweet mother of God. Sweet mother of the gods. Yes. Yeah, it's crazy up here to buy in bulk. I think it's because of our location, the population density. So one of the funny things is when I'm talking to Americans and we talk about population and stuff, and like, you know, um, Americans are like, yeah, you guys can do what we do. And I'm like, did you know that our entire Air Force can fit on one of your aircraft carriers? Did you know that the entire population of law enforcement officers in California is the same as all of Canada? Did you know that the population of our military is the same as all of your military in Fort Drum? So, so when you start comparing those numbers, it's like, um, you guys can ship stuff easily and have that population that has accessibility to stuff. So, you have much more population condensed in different areas where, it makes it worthwhile to be able to ship stuff. So if you're shipping stuff in Canada, it's kind of like, we're shipping to the middle of nowhere for no one. So it kind of hurts in that regard. Yeah, Walmart doesn't even consider us in their shipping zone. Walmart, Home Depot, um, Costco, none of them will ship here. There's very few stores that will actually ship to our location. So we have to ship. There's some small stores that will if they ship like Canada Post, which equivalent in US is USPS. Um, or if someone ships like UPS or Purelate or that sort of thing, some will. But big box stores, no, because they do their own shipping. They don't even come close to us and don't want anything to do with us. Oh man, if we could have an airdrop, we get in like a Black Hawk helicopter coming in. Be like, you know what I would pay for a Black Hawk helicopter to drop some stuff off here? Like, I'd be like, sign me up for another air delivery. I like whatever you're selling, I'm buying. I'm like, credit cards maxed out. Let me just pay that off. Like, let's get another delivery. Get another Black Hawk coming in, dropping some stuff off for us. I'd be like, sign me up. I don't care what it is. Do another drop. I'm good. Yeah, because we are the second biggest country in the world, but population wise, we're like way, 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 way down there. So, US, I believe it's about, you guys have about 10 times the population we do, even though we're a much bigger country. So, it's hard to justify any shipping up here at all. Everyone complains about shipping, and let's just build a railway. Like, yeah, in the middle of nowhere, so two people can be delivered to this place. It's like, you know, if you want to, I travel a bunch for business, and if I look at it and I'm like, so if I want to take a railway from here to here, in the UK, you could be like, if I want to take rail to like France, south of France, let's go to south of France for the weekend. You'd be like, oh, that's not expensive. In Canada, you'd be like, I want to go the same distance to from UK to the south of France, and you're like, oh, no, I could buy a house for that. Like, no. So it's totally different. I know. I'd be like, yep, come on, all good. Just bring it in. Yep. I'll make like a helipad out in the cow field. Like, give me some spray paint. I'll just like, make a spot out here. um, I'd be all good with it. Like when I had my old company back in Ontario, I actually called our base. So it was Canada Forces Base Trenton. And so I had my business close to the base, and our house was a little off the base, like a little ways away, but it was in the flight path. So the Hercs would kind of they would circle at that point where our house is, but where my business was, they'd be flying low. So the one time I called up the base and I'd be like, "Hey guys, yeah, I need to lodge a complaint. Did you know your Hercs are not flying low enough and fast enough above our house? I need you to do it again and fire that up a few more times." And you'd hear the guy giggle. He'd be like, he was just expecting an actual complaint. He'd be like, "Okay, thanks for thanks for your comment." But I would be like, I'd love that stuff. Like the C-130s going, like just going right across the top of the business and circling around the house and that sort of stuff. But here we actually get the water bombers from Quebec City. So they come up and they will circle around and do practice runs and that kind of stuff. And that's really cool to see those guys, because those guys are lifesavers. After the forest fire that we had last year, man, I can't thank those guys enough. If anyone's watching who's a firefighter, anyone who's watching who is a firefighter who has dealt with forest fires, you guys freaking rock. Like, you guys saved our homestead last year when we had the forest fire. And it was like, apparently what had happened was there was a camping incident or some ATVs and set this forest fire off. And almost instantly, there were 3 water bombers on site, and they were like, and they had that forest fire put out like that. And it was crazy because I was not here at the time. Bridget was, and she took video of it, and I felt helpless because I wasn't here. But man, those guys rocked, and it was so nice to be able to have them put that out. And my stress level went, from 100% to 0. So I know what you're laying down there. So yeah, I'm about to jump off too. So if you guys haven't checked out Bland's Promised Land Ranch, make sure you get over to their place after this, because they are firing up. They're live. Awesome couple. They're always supportive, always a fun bunch, and they put up with me on their lives. So I'll go in there drinking and make some comments, and they'll be like, "Ha ha ha, it's Darren," and they'll be like, okay with that. So they are very awesome to deal with. So make sure you go check them out if you haven't. And I think I've been on for an hour, so I'm about to call it a night. I might fire up some more of these live soon. We'll get some guests on here and we'll make it a little interesting. And maybe we'll do some product reviews and other stuff. And yeah, I got some ideas that I want to work with, but it was good seeing you guys, and it was a good startup to the fall season. And I really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting us and everything you do, all the comments, all the likes, all the subscriptions, the memberships. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. We'll talk to you soon. Love you guys.